Hello there, and welcome to Factorio. Alright, so this is a nice fun little game where basically we're trying to build a spaceship. Easier said than done, of course. We have to go through a process of gathering resources and then using those resources to generate research. And that research will give us more things to work with. So the general goal of the game is to try and automate things. For example, to put some drills up on the coal that will take coal to my furnace and drill over by the iron. So that's going to be our typical agenda, is try and automate things and make things as efficient as possible. My goal for this episode is to reach, at the very least, steam power. So, get some boilers and some steam engines. And that'll allow us to start using electricity, which will give us the electric drills, the labs, the radar, and so on. It's a decent first step in the game. It doesn't take too long normally. Luckily, it looks like we've got a fairly decent setup here, where we've got coal near both copper and iron. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a drill here that will continue to get us stone for a little while. But I need a box to put the stone in so I don't have to stand by and keep collecting it. So now that'll keep making stone until it runs out of fuel. Come by and pick it up later. And I need more already. Use this stone, we'll make ourselves another drill over here. Go ahead and make two. One for the iron here, and one for the coal just over yonder. So our first little goal here is going to be getting that coal over here. Then these little inserters that I'm placing down will pick up the coal and place it in, and they fuel themselves with coal as well. So it's a very self-serving system. And I'm lucky this is fairly close together because now I don't have to build as many transport belts. The farther apart everything is, obviously the harder it is to keep things connected in a way that'll keep things efficient. Gonna go ahead and run over to the stone again real quick, pick up what we have there. Drop some fuel in there, and let that keep going. Just about have this connected. Just need a couple more transport plates, and it will be fully looped. Perfect. So now, as long as this keeps pumping out coal, all of these will keep going. So we'll have a constant supply of iron. But only 2 of these isn't going to be very efficient in the long run. We're going to need a lot more where that comes from. But for now, it'll do. So our next step is going to be to get some copper, which will allow us to make the pump for water, which of course is going to be necessary for a steam engine. Go ahead and grab a bit more iron here. Make 2 more drills, and then bring it over to the copper here. Yeesh, this is kind of a nasty little setup, stuck all the way back here, but we can make it work. Put our drills down. Create 2 more furnaces. Now we just need to fuel this. Fortunately, since this is a bit more out of the way, it's going to be a little more difficult if I wanted to bring coal over here, but in the long term we're not going to need it here, so I'm not going to bother. Works well for the iron, but not for this. So now we'll let that sit there and gather up for a little bit. Grab some more iron. So our goal is going to be 5 boilers and 3 steam engines. The water can be a bit tricky in how it likes to function sometimes, so that's why I tend to go with more boilers than steam engines. Otherwise, generally, you'd probably be able to just use a 1-to-1. So we'll probably set this up over here close to the coal and the water. Probably go ahead and do something like this. Oops. Put that there. Good to go. Now, we just need a couple more pipes and the pump itself. So let's go ahead and go check out how our copper's doing. Not too much, but just enough for what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and create 5 inserters for our boilers. Create an offshore pump. Make some electric poles. Now we just need a bit more for the pipe. We'll go ahead and put it here. These wires will connect the electricity through. Anything in the blue zone is going to be powered once the electricity starts flowing. This leaves a nice little gap for us to walk through. And this is here for later, in case we want to expand our pipes up this way. That way we can get more steam engines later. So now, the last thing we'll need is to create a drill. But unlike our coal-powered drills, this one will run purely off electricity, so it won't need any more coal. Which is funny, because we're going to be putting it on coal. Go ahead and slap this down right here. Try and be a bit more economical with it. Try and cover as much coal as we can. And then, transport belts. So now all of our electricity is hooked up for everything that it needs. So now we just need to fuel the boilers. Just short. So we'll go ahead and throw in just a little bit of fuel here, which will get this pumping. Now this is going to start spewing out coal for us. And that will keep the rest of the boilers happy for a while. And since the drill's really the only thing using the electricity right now, we won't need much from these. But soon enough, we're going to be hurting for power. So we're going to go ahead and create a radar here. Radars help to reveal the map without us having to go all the way out and explore it. It'll discover a little chunk at a time, every about minute or so. And that's good for us because there's some aliens out there. Now, all of our machines that we keep making like to create some pollution, which can be seen by the red here. It's a little faint right now, but it'll get worse as time goes on. Eventually, it's going to reach out all the way to the different alien encampments, and that's going to anger them, and they're going to come to attack all of my stuff. So, this helps us to figure out where they are, so we can plan defenses. But that's a bit down the road. Not something we have to worry about too much right now. So, made good progress so far. We got our engines going. So now, the last thing we'll do for this episode is we'll make some labs and get our first little bit of research done. Grab our iron here, and boom, 2 labs being made. Now these science packs are what we use to generate research. The red ones are pretty easy to make. It's pretty much just copper and iron. The green ones take a little bit more because you have to make more complex materials, such as the transport belts and the inserters, and so on and so forth. So for now we're just going to make 10 science packs. Put down our lab. Now this is all the research. So the first thing we're going to research is automation, which is going to give us these assembling machines that will allow us to just automatically make things without us having to have stuff on ourselves. So we can just use the transport belts to funnel resources, use the inserters to take those resources into the machine will output something, whatever we tell it to, and then we can use that as need be. So it's very handy, makes things run a lot smoother. So that's why we want to get it first. Now we have our second lab down. And once these science packs finish, we'll throw them on in. Grab some more resources while we're sitting here waiting. Pick up a bit of coal to take over to our rock factory. And then maybe... yeah, take this over to the copper so we can get that going. So it's not sitting over here being completely useless. And now begins the research. So technically you only need 1 lab to research anything, because you could just throw it all in there. But obviously, if you want to be efficient, since it starts to add up on how much time it takes to research things, more labs means you can do it twice as fast, as long as you have enough packs to put inside them. So I generally like to start off with 2 for the earlier research, and then add more as time goes on. And as you can see here, these little chunks is what our radar is revealing. And voila! Our first bit of research is done. Now we have longer-handled inserters that can reach further, which allows us to do more creative things with our transport belts. And we have our assembly machines. So now we can create things with ease. Now, to give you an idea of how much farther we have to go, this is all the research we have. And this is our end goal, the rocket silo. With this, we'll be able to create a rocket that we launch into space. Now, as you can see here, it takes 1,000 of each type of pack, and I haven't even unlocked these two yet, so we have a long journey ahead of ourselves, but hopefully it won't take too long. So, I'm going to go ahead and leave this episode here. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, please also still let me know. Any feedback is helpful. This is still my first time doing this, so clearly things are going to be a little iffy at first. It's going to take me a little while to figure out what works, what doesn't, and so on. So that's why your feedback is really helpful. So thank you for that. If you have any suggestions, I will gladly look into them. And as I said, I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time.